everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondial. You're watching the Urban Debate here on Mirror Now. For the last few days, ladies and gentlemen, India has seen a series of crackdowns across states, action against food adulteration and fake products. From fake ghee and analog paneer to expired juices and even stale chicken wings. Raid after raid in state after state has uncovered products that should never have reached your plate in the first place. But here is what makes it worse. The food you eat isn't safe, and when that food makes you sick, the medicines you're taking aren't safe either. This is what has happened today. A fake medicine racket has been busted in Karnataka. Medicines worth 5 crore rupees have been seized from an unlicensed unit near Bengaluru. Authorities say the drugs and injections were allegedly repackaged and relabeled under the names of reputed pharma companies, including Pfizer, before being pushed into the market. And this is where it gets even more concerning. Authorities say some of the seized medicines were meant for hospitals, including drugs intended for intensive care. The drugs were also allegedly being sold at almost half the market price. So the question is not just who made these medicines, it is whether any of them actually reached patients. And there may be a much bigger story behind this one unit. Karnataka's health minister now saying that the trail could lead beyond the state, with medicines allegedly sourced from other parts of the country, relabeled in Karnataka and then pushed into the market. The government is now looking at a special team and may also seek the centre's help. Take a listen.
When these spurious drugs are coming from Himachal Pradesh, Telangana, it doesn't for one district at all. It may be in other districts of Karnataka also and other part of the country also, in other states also. So we have taken very seriously and we have discussed with the Home Minister that we want a special team of investigation for this. The concerning of our drug department officers and the police officers to see in detail who is there, what, and we want to stop it. Same way, we will request the Central Health Minister also and other state ministers to take it very seriously.
But by now we know that the danger is not just limited to medicines. Even as this fake drug racket was being uncovered, food safety teams were conducting checks across Karnataka and flagging expired and allegedly spoilt meat. In Mysuru, for example, officials seized 9 kilograms of chicken from a hotel called Rio Meridian, 68 kilograms of meat from a hotel called Grand Mercure, and 4 kilograms of mushroom from Q-Star Hotel over food safety concerns. And in Bengaluru, a customer complaint triggered a surprise inspection at a KFC outlet in the city centre mall. The complaint allegedly involved spoiled and foul-smelling chicken. Officials inspected the kitchen, storage and cold storage areas, sealed the storage area and collected samples for lab testing. Further action, ladies and gentlemen, will depend on the lab report. And when you connect all these cases, the story becomes deeply disturbing. From fake dairy products and adulterated spices to expired drinks, spoiled meat and counterfeit medicines, what exactly are we eating? And when that food makes us sick, what exactly are we being given to cure it? In a survey conducted by local circles, 89% consumers said they had very low trust in their state food safety department. Mumbai rated highest among cities that actually believed that their FDA and their bureaucrats were doing good work. 36% respondents said they had trust in it. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is largely because of one bureaucrat who decided to do his job diligently. From restaurants to government canteens and even the Bombay High Court, Tukaram Munde is going everywhere food is being served or stored, and he is checking everything. The 2000 batch IAS officer took charge as Maharashtra's FDA commissioner in May this year. Within weeks, he had ordered more than 1,100 inspections across the state. Domino's outlets were hit, restaurants and dairies faced action, quick commerce warehouses were inspected, Blinkit, Swiggy and Zepto facilities came under the FDA scanner, with licenses suspended over hygiene and food safety violations. But what really summed up Munde's approach came next. After the Bombay High Court questioned whether the FDA was targeting only private eateries, Munde's teams turned up at the court itself. 3 High Court canteens were inspected and 2 were subsequently shut temporarily. And now 2 weeks after that move, Tukaram Munde was pulled up by the court, but regarding another case related to Pune. The court said that the FDA's intent may be laudable, but it has gone overboard and ordered 5 lakh rupees compensation to a Pune sweet shop whose license remained suspended despite 98% compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, point is, given India's adulteration epidemic, and it is an epidemic, is it time for all FDAs across this country to do a Munde, quit their lazy, complacent and corrupt ways, clean up their act and ensure that the food and medicines that citizens of this country consume don't end up killing them? My guest this evening, Mahesh Zagade, is a former Principal Secretary, Maharashtra, and a former FDA Commissioner as well. Maheshji, thank you very much for your time. Bejon Mishra is a consumer rights activist joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Shikha Sharma, good to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Professor Sudhir Kumar is a health expert. He's a senior consultant at Apollo Hospital in Hyderabad, joining us on the broadcast. Professor Kumar, thank you very much. And Sachin Tapari, as a founder, Local Circles, his survey is something we've just quoted on the show. He's joining us on the broadcast. Maheshji, I'm going to start with you first. Related to another case, the Mumbai High Court has remarked that the FDA has gone overboard. My point is, given what FDAs in this country are famous for being corrupt, complacent and lazy, it was probably high time that FDAs in Maharashtra and other places go overboard, because it is only because of one man that food safety and drug safety has become a national talking point, sir.
Shreya, I really do not know what to say because, as you said, that there is epidemic of the food quality and drug. It's not epidemic. It has been here for a long time. The Drug Act came in place for 1940, from 1940, and the Food Act came in place, started getting implemented in 2011, when I was the Food Safety Commissioner at that point of time, when it came into being. Now, the food quality and the drug issue has been, both of them have been there, like in the country. Like WHO famously had said that 34% drugs sold in India could be spurious or not standard. That was the report, of course, it was contested and all that is there. Then it came to food, and they said that the earlier Food Act, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, did nothing. It only had raids and it only had prosecution, and therefore they replaced this new act of Food Safety and Standards Act from 2011. Now, this, I do not know what is happening in media. It is like suddenly something is happening and now all the food quality in the country will be good, and then like that is created. Life is not all that simple. See, food or the medicine. Now, for example, you mentioned about the medicine in Karnataka.
Correct.
It is the failure of the drug controller and health secretary, Government of India, period. And every FDA in the country, it is the sin. I'm not saying it is irregularity, but sin of FDA commissioner. Now, this cannot happen. Spurious drugs cannot be sold. It is provided in the law since 1945.
Correct.
And as a FDA commissioner, in 2011, 2014, I implemented so stringently that no spurious drug can go in the hands of patient, and that was a record. Unfortunately, what has happened, there was no media hype that time. So what I did, I implemented the law tooth and nail without anything coming in the public domain. I simply say, whosoever purchases, the patient purchases, there has to be a bill. Now, if to give bill in a retail shop is provided in the law. Why bill? Because that bill gives the batch number and all that. So batch is traced to the wholesaler, wholesaler is traced to the supplier, and supplier is traced to the manufacturer.
Okay.
If that is there, then there is no question about any spurious thing coming in. But in this country, to my amazement, when I had joined, 96% sale was done without bills. Now, why this is happening in this country? Why these IS officers, right from the health secretary to the FDA commissioners all across the country, they are sleeping. Even now they are sleeping. See, this is all like, something is happening, and then this is all going against the people, and then to earn brownie points. Now, about the food. Food is a very serious issue. Let me tell you again, a few raids here and there. Raids have failed in this country for 60 years. Raid did nothing. What law says, and it is international accepted practice. Are we not going to look at the international practices? Are we not going to Canada, which is the #1 country in the world where the food quality is the best as per the survey? What is required to be done? That after raiding, you may punish the person, but that is not the intent of the law. Intent of the law is that the consumers should not be exposed to any such thing. So it is the duty of the food safety commissioners and his machinery, and of course Secretary Government of India, that the food chain has to be monitored from farm to fork, from farm to plate. Is it being done? No. And nobody is questioning, especially media is not questioning. Media is very gaga over the raids and what is happening and all that. No, in this country, law and especially the health of the people, especially common man.
So,
no, I'm saying common man.
So Maheshji, what you are saying is, 1 minute, I just want to understand what you are trying to say. Maheshji, you are then trying to tell me that while raids may make headlines, and while one bureaucrat may be making headlines, all that is very well. The headlines may ensure that there is a national conversation about adulterated food and adulterated drugs, but it is not going to solve the problem of adulterated food and adulterated drug. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Period. Exactly, I'm saying this. Okay. And this is the international experience also. What is required is to be done is like you monitor each and every stage of the food right up to the last sale.
But does the FDA have the wherewithal to do it? Does
exactly. I had when I was FDA commissioner, I did with the same number of food safety officers, but you have to instill fear in their mind that in his area, geographical area, if something wrong happens, and you have to take rigorous training, of the food operator, these grocery shops, hoteliers, everybody, and then you have to tell them what is to be complied with. And that food safety officer in that area has to be held responsible. And if he doesn't comply, doesn't do his work, action needs to be taken.
But Mr. Mishra, okay, I get it. But Mr. Mishra, what Maheshji is saying is that there has to be fear of the law. As far as restaurant owners are concerned, anyone who's dealing with food is concerned, there should be fear of the law. How will there be fear of the law, sir? I'm just looking at the data I have. Only 3% of food safety violations over the last 5 years ended in convictions. This is what the parliament data is showing. Data is also showing that in 75% of the 2 lakh cases where food safety authorities established adulteration, the violation was punished with a monetary penalty. Now, my point is, in a system that is so corrupt, where will the fear of the law come? I will know that if I sell substandard mushrooms that could end up killing children, no problem. I will get away by greasing someone's pocket.
So, Shreya, you heard Maheshji, who was a regulator, and I was very fortunate to have worked with him in Maharashtra when he was a regulator as a consumer representative. I was a member of the Food Safety Authority from 2008 to 2013. And what I see that there is a great need to institutionalize the whole mechanism in terms of effective and efficient management of the law, which is missing in our country. You see, what is missing in our country is an institutionalized method. Whether Maheshji is there or not as a drug regulator, whether whoever comes, after him, it is institutionalized. It doesn't go by personalities. Please remember this. Today, as if, you are personifying the food regulator as if he is God. He is not. Please, he is seeking
Mr.
publicity.
Mr. Mishra, anyone who is seen to be doing his job in this country, especially bureaucrats, they will get brownie points, because we really don't see bureaucrats or the government do their job, sir.
That is not right. In fact, he should be the first one to resign, to saying that I am not able to manage it the way it should be managed. He should give a strong signal to the central government that if you want the state government to manage the institution, to protect the interest of the consumer, to protect the health of the consumer, then you please give me the resources, you please give me all this infrastructure, you please give me what is required to ensure that I do my work in a very due diligent manner, which is not happening. We conducted one of the largest study in the world. The government of India spent 8.5 crores on picking up 47,000 samples and getting those drugs tested in accredited laboratories. And what did we get? We got to see that only 0.04% of medicines are spurious and only 4% are not of quality standard. And the whole world is talking against India as hub of spurious medicines. This is all propaganda.
But Mr. Mishra, when 200 children, एक minute, Mr. Mishra, you may call it propaganda. Mr. Mishra, I understand the data you're giving is the parliament data, but when you have a situation where 200...
It is not a parliament data. It is a credible data done out of a research which was done for
my
2
counter
years
question to you is this. Sir,
no,
my
please,
counter question to you is this. When 200 children, sir, when 200 children die because of spurious contaminated cough syrup in India and abroad, it will make headlines, sir. There is a problem.
Chiria, you must try to appreciate when, we had health ministers who went ahead to bring in death penalty for spurious medicines found in the supply chain. Sushma Swaraj was the health minister, I still remember. There was a committee formed and there was death penalty imposed. And what did it happen? That whole got neutralized. The next government came and neutralized it. This is not a political issue. Please remember, this is an issue of health and safety of the citizens. You cannot compromise health and citizen of the citizens. You have to understand that you have to bring stringent laws. People who do this kind of an action, they cannot be spared. There has to be fast track hearing. There should be punishment. There should be deterrent punishment. It is not there in our country. Please try to understand that. We keep on talking about it. We forget it the next day after we have spoken today. We forget it tomorrow. We have to come to a conclusion. We have to come to a strong conclusion, which is not coming for the last 34 years.
And what is, Mr. Mishra, what is that strong conclusion? Please tell me tell our viewers, what is that strong conclusion?
The strong conclusion is, number one, heads must roll people who are supposed to do surveillance. People who are working with the government, taking fat salaries, taking all kinds of amenities, but they are not responsible, they are not accountable, they are not transparent. Their heads must roll. You see, when these kind of data come into the marketplace, how many people have lost their job in the last 5 days? When you people are doing this propaganda, how many people have lost their job? You give me one person who lost his job.
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
Nobody has lost his job. Who are supposed to be protecting my health and who should be protecting my safety. None of them have lost their job. They're all cushy, taking the fat salaries out of the taxpayers' money. They're not accountable. Nothing is transparent.
Mahesh ji, would you want to come in here? Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with Mishra ji and Shreya, please. You are media, fourth pillar of the democracy. And appalled for last 10-15 days, what is happening? You are becoming part of a big theater. Like, see, food is a very serious business. From toddler to old people, we are like this thing, and all kinds of elements are there. But we are not trying to understand what exactly is going on. We are trying to create a hive which is not going to do anything at all. And I am telling you this insider information, who was there for 3 years and who exactly did what was required to be done. And for your information, it is not. I used to suspend the food safety officer and drug inspectors and assistant commissioners wherever this was found. And as Mishra ji rightly said, the head should roll down right from the top. This is not happening. We are just like making something big out of this and okay, now everything is Karan Arjun aaya hai, ab sab theek ho jayega. No, that is in fact it is sending very wrong signal to the country, and we are going to get into another mess that this is we are doing. No, as I told you earlier, also Canada did what Canada did as enforcement from very stringent experiment how it is to be done, not raids and all this. And now you said one thing about that only prosecution and very few. Prosecution is last thing. It is not supposed to happen. The collection of penalty is also not thing. Basically, every activity is to be monitored by Food Safety Commissioner, and if he is not ready to control it, then better he should resign, or people should force him to resign.
But raids are part of that surveillance, na, sir? Then what is the problem with Mr. Tukaram Munde conducting those raids?
Again, I'm telling you,
he's not.
I'm again telling you, the media, my friends in media, this is simply an eyewash. what is happening is raid is an eyewash. Raid
You
is
saw
not
that he
supposed to be
got
there. What
fined.
is you
Legally
may get
got fined.
एक मिनट मिस्टर मिश्रा, एक मिनट मिस्टर मिश्रा, let Mahesh ji speak. हाँ.
what is supposed to be done? See, all food business operators, right from the person who delivers food to your delivers milk to you, to the large manufacturers like Cadbury and all that, everybody is either licensed or then registered, and they have given certain conditions on how to operate this license. And then this commissioner and his machinery is supposed to monitor what they are doing. And if they are not doing anything, then they are given improvement notice. If something is not happening, once the improvement notice given within 14 days, they have to comply with that. No raids, please. Now, if there are 2 cockroaches in your kitchen, Shreya, in your own kitchen, are you going to suspend your kitchen for 15 days? No, this doesn't happen. Nowhere in the world it doesn't happen. It happened in India, and but the law was abolished. Now you give improvement notice, allow them to happen, and then in Pune case, what happened? Improvement notice was given, and it was closed, and the High Court gave punishment, compensation of 5 crore. See, I believe my judiciary. Now you cannot. There are comments in public domain that because of the media hype, that even High Court is wrong. Why this is happening? See, you are creating a position, a mindset in the public that something is really great happening. Raids are not the solution. Raids are not provided. You give improvement notices, get compliance. If not, then do whatever you want to do it. But not the way like, what is like, and you use the right word, epidemic.
Okay. Sachin Taparia, can I just bring you in as founder of Local Circles and someone who constantly speaks to citizens in this country? What you make of the debate we've had so far? Look at what has happened today in Karnataka. Forget what has been happening in Maharashtra. In Karnataka, you have a case where a spurious drug racket has been busted. But Mr. Mr. Bijon Mishra very kindly has informed me, and this is data that is out there. Mr. Mishra, I've seen that data. The spurious drugs is not really a problem in this country. But what both the gentlemen seem to be saying is raids are not an indication of any good work being done. They don't achieve anything. Therefore, Tukaram Munde is doing nothing else but seek publicity, and he's getting it because the media is not questioning why those raids were necessitated and what they ultimately will end up proving.
So, Shreya, I partly agree with them and I partly disagree with them. I agree with them on the fact that, the commissioner, whether it is Mr. Munde or anybody else, should not be going overboard. At the same time, you need this kind of awakening. Of course, in the while following the law on, what is, a violation versus what is not a violation, you really need this kind of awakening. You mentioned our survey numbers. Just 11% people trust their FDA to ensure that the food on their plate at a restaurant or, supplies coming from a dark store are actually safe. Basically, the people of this country have lost faith in their FDA. What's happening in Maharashtra is, at least to the people of Maharashtra, it seems like, restoration of trust. I think the way we need to look at this is whatever is happening in Maharashtra, where the FDA is active, they are going out and inspecting, they are going out and collecting samples. The same thing needs to happen across India, every state. So far, we have seen about 4 or 5 states come out, and or rather 4 or 5 cities, we are seeing some inspections and some enforcements. But this needs to happen across the country. The sad reality is that you have nexuses that are going on from the inspector to the controller to the commissioner, and in many cases the health minister of the state, where essentially businesses, be it restaurants, be it other food businesses, they pay a set amount to just be in business, basically, what you call as hafta. And I think this is the nexus that has got to be broken. And this is where I appreciate with what Mr. Munde is doing, of course, while following the food law, right, which is going out and actively ensuring that whether it is a Domino's or a KFC or a local restaurant, they don't, basically break the law. And it is very, very evident in our survey where we basically, independent of what is happening in Maharashtra, our survey was actually running before that, where we had asked people of this country that when you go out to dine, in an air-conditioned restaurant, not street open to, the environment restaurant, but an air-conditioned restaurant, what are the issues you have observed? 5 in 10, are saying they've observed dirty kitchens, they've, observed pests and insects, dirty dining areas, staff that is not trained. These are real people, disclosing real issues that they see. And everybody has taken them for granted. And that is what is unacceptable. And therefore, I believe that he's doing the right thing. He should be doing it in the realms of the law, the food law. But we need more and more of this, and we need it across India. So that way, there should be FSSAI should basically be publishing a public safety dashboard with hygiene rating of every food business that is out there in this country, by state, by city. So I, as a citizen of this country, can go on my food app or whatever I want to order it from, or when I visit a restaurant, the hygiene rating of that restaurant should be right there publicly available to me to make a call. We show on Google reviews how the interiors look, and the menu, what they have, but we never show the inside of these restaurants. And I think that's the need of the hour, and that's what the public is so excited about.
Something to you.
No,
May I reveal something to you today, which I think none of the viewers in the country know about it. Because people talk without knowing the law. See, unfortunately. See, all the states are duty bound by law to pick up samples in a statistically significant manner, in a randomized manner, and make those samples get tested in accredited laboratories. It's a daily work, which the law says. And as a member of the Food Safety Authority, we used to get those reports from the states, but very few states used to give those reports. Most of the states used to not work on it.
There you go.
And we have a law. And
There
that is
you go.
what I want to tell your panel members.
When the state itself is not following the law, how do we expect eateries to follow laws?
Exactly. Not only that. You please try to understand. What Sachin has done is a universe which is an urban universe.
Correct.
We are talking about India. When we talk about India, I'm talking about that 47,000 samples which were collected statistically significant manner pan-India. And it was done in such a manner that even WHO recognized that work which nobody done in the world. We need to do those kind of studies. We don't need to do these knee-jerk studies and then mislead the people with some kind of a universe which is only localized. And then you give a figure out of that. You talk to only 10,000 people and then you give a figure and then you mislead the whole citizen. You mislead the country to the world. Our country is not that.
So,
Our
Mr.
country is
Mishra,
not that. Our country is
Mr. Mishra, what is your contention? That the food we get in eateries in India is not adulterated. That it is very good, Canada level.
Reports must come with advisories. What is your universe? We should know about it. How did you conduct it? Was it biased? What is the element of error in your report? We must know that. You are telling the whole world that India is a junk? What rubbish! India is a great country. Don't
Sir, 1 minute. Saying that food in India is adulterated doesn't take away from the greatness of that country. And asking questions of your government and raiding eateries which serves unadulterated food is not undermining the greatness of your country. You're doing yeoman service to your country if you're raising questions about the food people are eating.
Our citizens are empowered today to make an informed choice. You're undermining our laws which are there in our country.
Who's undermining them, sir? Your own governments are undermining them.
By making certain studies which do not stand good without an advisory. You must let the people know how did you conduct the study? Who were the people who were respondent? How many people were responding?
Are you saying that the food in
how
the
did you
country
do
is
it statistically?
It
needs to be
Mr.
done.
Mishra, 1 minute. Now let's hear Sachin's response and then I'll get the other two professionals who've been waiting patiently listening to us with a smile on their face. Sachin?
What Mr. Mishra is saying, part of it is right. Yes, there has to be qualification as to who, the study was done on. This is tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, districts of India. Yes, we could not reach rural India for this study. You don't have air-conditioned restaurants in rural India, but you have in urban India, right? So therefore, when you take a sample of 91,000 people in this country and you ask them that when you went to an air-conditioned restaurant, what was your experience? If 5 out of 10 are saying so, I will believe that much more than I would believe Mr. Mishra here.
Okay.
Absolutely, because
And
my data is talking for itself rather than some person who's just talking loud and giving an opinion on TV based on some random data. I'm sorry.
Acha. Maheshji, I know you want to say something, but Dr. Shikha, I'm just going to bring you here because citizens are watching this debate, watching what Mr. Munde is doing in Maharashtra, listening to Maheshji and Mr. Mishra, and thinking to themselves, "Hum kare kya? Should we just stop eating out? Is that the solution?"
I think you're very right in pointing out that what the dilemma, how do we resolve the dilemma of this? So first thing I'll tell you that this kind of raids have been happening on and off over many years at different points of time. And it's not really made a big difference because one person comes, one chief comes, tries to do whatever they can, but there is no institutional or structural backup. So unless institutions are structured or systems are created, a one-man show cannot run in India. I mean, I applaud his intention and his good intention, but sadly, this is not the first time. It's been done many times with no long-term results. That's number one. Number two, that one of your panelists has mentioned a brilliant solution that let's do hygiene rating of each restaurant and make it mandatory. I mean, you have different ratings and reviews, and in the age of technology, this is a very simple solution. If we just do a hygiene rating or an efficacy rating, that will really change things around. So I think what the question which you have asked me, yes, a lot of people don't eat out today because the moment they start eating out regularly, they find that they're falling ill, their immunity is down, and their sickness is growing. So in a way, it is a catch-22. We don't want the entrepreneurs to shut down their shops. We don't want economy to go down. We want people to enjoy their life, but it needs a safety mechanism. And this safety mechanism has to be driven by a couple of institutions coming together. It cannot be a one-man show. And yes, having said that, this is the season, this July, August is the season of maximum deaths by diarrhea, infection, hygiene problems. Another thing I want to point out, in the law, there is a concept called the act of commission, which is something got missed. And the act of commission, that is deliberately some adulteration was done. We also need to separate the two, because act of commission, which is deliberate attempt at adulteration or chemical, that has to be taken very seriously. But act of commission do not need to be filed in sections where the person is hauled up and put in prison, because we have to be a little more balanced in our approach while doing public safety.
Okay, that's a fair point you make. And therefore, Dr. Sudhir Kumar, I come to you in the end. Can I ask you, I recently visited a hospital and there were some medicines that were being prescribed that were not available at the hospital. And the person at the hospital tells me that, madam, just be careful about where you buy your medicines from, because aajkal ye bhi problem hai that the medicines you buy may just be spurious. Now, Mr. Mishra is giving me a set of data that is telling us that less than 1% of medicines in this country are spurious. The bigger problem is substandard medicines, right? 4 to 5% of our medicines are substandard. So that is the bigger problem. So that is the data. But then there is lived experience as well here. What is your lived experience as a doctor for over 35 years?
Yes, I think it's a very important point. And here, I think at this point, I would agree with Mishra sir. So we have a problem of spurious drugs or the substandard drugs, but fortunately for us, that is not a major problem because we have many, good companies, good pharma companies, and which have good facilities for manufacturing and storage, and we also have multiple, stockists and retail pharmacy chains which maintain good standards. And there is a reason, because for all these, qualities, we are known as the pharma capital of the world. And Indian medicines, our companies export medicines to the entire world, including the most developed countries also. So that is the truth. I agree with you that there have been exceptions and, small exceptions, and that also should not happen. It's not that we are accepting that, those things should happen. And we should not be happy with 95% of the drugs being effective and the best quality. We have to make sure that the remaining 5% also match the quality. And I also agree with, Mahesh when he mentioned that if you take bills and the batch numbers are mentioned, then it's very easy to track if the drug is original and made by a good branded, good company, or whether it's spurious or not. So every customer who buys a medicine should insist for a bill which should have the batch number also of the medicines. So that way we'll be 100% sure. So I agree here with both our experts that it is a problem, but it's not a major problem when it comes to the drugs. But definitely in the food, we all know we all eat outside, and we have a personal experiences that not all restaurants maintain the best standards. So definitely we have to be choosy, where we go out and eat. And as Dr. Shikha also mentioned that in this monsoon season we get case of diarrhea. And as we are talking, there has been a case in Bihar in Nalanda where in the school children food instead of salt they had put surf detergent. That's the today's news only. So these things are happening and we cannot accept that. And we have the experts here who have given us the directions how to go about safeguarding our food safety.
Maheshji, I'll give you the last word as an FDA commissioner, given it is the FDA that has come in for a change, for some praise. They get a lot of bad press. I'm sure there have been other FDA commissioners in Maharashtra and other parts of the country who have done a good job. The fact is no one has spoken about it. Now people are speaking about what Mr. Tukaram Munde is doing. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Yes, he may be making headlines. Yes, he may be going and giving television interviews. But that also means that people are sitting up, they are watching. If he's going viral, maybe it is because people resonate with what he's saying and doing.
Shreya, people should resonate, but not on emotional wave. They have to be grounded in fact. This country has been taken to large waves from last 3,500 years. Ki ye hota hai, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all that, that's all well taken. And then we are all emotional that this happens. Now, I have only 3 issues to discuss with you. I am in very succinctly, very small. Number 1, are we not going to respect our democracy? We should respect our democracy. Press should, media should respect democracy, and officers especially should respect democracy. What is democracy? Democratically elected people in parliament, they came out with a law with the intent that food should be of good quality.
Correct.
Because other laws, rate-based laws, were failure. And therefore, they brought this law. Now, like Sachinji said, that rates are creating awareness. But last 60 years, nothing happened at rate. So this law, we have to, not emotion, but law has to be implemented. Law is in place. Unfortunately, nobody is talking about what is law. Everybody is talking about emotion and what is he doing, and he's creating emotion. I don't see where are we taking this country. We must respect people's mandate. People's mandate is that we must have good law and it should be implemented. Now, second issue, very pertinent. We are talking about 5-star clubs and 5-star hotels and these and restaurants and all these things. Shreya, let me tell you the ground reality. Even today, 85 to 90% food eaten, consumed in India is from the kitchen, homemade food, 85 to 90. What happens to that? What about that quality? Nobody, because it will not make headlines, it will not give brownie points, nothing. The primary food, like food grains, whether they are with pesticides, oil, and then your everything that comes, vegetables, fruits, who's looking after that? Because it's not making TV debates. That's a very serious issue. And we are only talking about some food, some consumers, 1 or 2% consumers' interest. Let me tell you very clearly, what we are debating for last 15, 20 days, we are only targeting 1 to 2% of population that is covered with this kind of rates. So we have to consider larger population, larger sets of 90% people who are consuming food, and nobody is looking at that. And it is the law. Now, third thing I'm talking about, what Sachinji said, this kind of thing, if it is there, then hapta. I'll tell you, I was collector Nashik, and that time there were dropsy poisoning, like oil was spiked with some German oil, and some people died. So I was called in Delhi to give my this thing when this particular law was getting drafted. Now, while drafting this new law, one concern before them was that how to minimize the hapta. Earlier, hapta used to be collected like I raid some restaurant and move around other restaurants that we have raided that. Now you increase your hapta. We're increasing your hapta. So this is hapta department. So to do away this hapta culture in this country, do away the hapta culture, increase in with the rates with hapta is synonymous. And if somebody is saying that no, that's not the case, I think he is in a ivory tower, sitting in ivory tower. Hapta and rates are the same. It is increasing the level. So to reduce eliminate the culture of hapta, they came out with the new law where improvement notices, then like punishment through the penalty. This whole thing is there. So now again we are now talking about hapta, rates, and then like going overboard, and then media hype and all this. I think we are going backwards. not in terms of food laws, but as a democracy also. We do not want to implement the law, but we want to eulogize the person who is doing something which is not legal also.
Okay.
So this is where are we taking this country? And the media should understand this. You may be getting good coverage, the TRP may be going up, but what cost? What the health of this country's people, 140 crores, is more important than anything else.
But Mahesh, speaking about food adulteration, spurious drugs, is not doing the right thing by the media? Is that what you're
100%, but yeah, it has to be like in the right perspective, understand the law, what is going to good for the country, going to go for good for the country, just that, and not something else which is on emotion based.
Okay.
This country, emotion, I am doing that, this has to be highlighted, but no emotions. Okay. It has to be grounded into law. That's what I'm saying.
Evidence-based, database.
Okay, we'll leave it there. I think it was good to get all of you in because it was important to listen to everyone's point of view, given the fact that there is one man who has been making the headlines for the last 20 days and going viral. Not everyone on this panel agrees with the way he's been going about his business. Anyway, he's a viral star. We'll leave it there for the moment. Our viewers are smart. They've heard all points of views. They'll now make up their minds. Mahesh ji, Bejon ji, Dr. Sharma, Professor Kumar and Sachin Taparia, thank you very much for joining us on the debate here on the Urban Debate. With that, ladies and gentlemen, a quick break. News and updates continue. Do stay with us.